Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today we have a special treat. So it's Woo Woo Wednesday. So my buddy Public Awakening is joining us, but we also have Satoshi Sean here on a Woo Woo Wednesday. So we're going to talk about a little woo and a little crypto. We'll see what they've got up their sleeve for us. So be right back. Give us a share, like this video, and kick back. We'll see what's up. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show. Sean, I'm so glad to see you here on a Woo Wednesday.
Hey, it's great hanging out with y'all.
Welcome, Public. Great to see you on Wednesday. Sean was so excited to have you to want to come join us on a Woo Wednesday, and we were talking about movies, all that. I know we want to get to that a little later in the show, but before we jumped on, you guys started talking about farming and farming cryptos, and now everybody wants to like put their overalls on and become crypto farmers. What's going on?
I would definitely love to learn some more about it. That's something I know nothing about. I've heard Sean speak about it a few times, so I'm really looking forward to see a little bit how this works. And welcome, Sean.
Good to be here. Farming's super easy. I think it's that thing of DeFi that it's awesome. It's not that hard to make like 1% a day from farming. I think it's a lot safer than hodling, if that makes sense. Which if you like a coin and you think it has potential, then you buy that coin and you can trade it, and that's a little risky. Or a lot of people just hold it. And for people that just hold it, first off, they're staking, which is a no-brainer. I mean, if you're just holding a coin, you're not, even if it's going up, you're not really making anything from holding it. But if you were to stake it, even if you got 1%, it's still more than just sitting in your wallet. Right. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Just any kind of crypto that you're hodling, just do some research. Look and see if there's anywhere you can stake it, and then just stake it. So because you're holding it anyway. But with farming, you usually make a liquidity token or an LP token. So you take that crypto that you're holding, and you pair it up with something like BNB or BUSD or TUSD, and then you put those together and you create a specific token for farming, a liquidity pool token or an LP token, and then you lock that up, and that's how you farm. Now, let's say that you think this one project is amazing, has great potential, so you're putting money into it, and let's say you have $10,000 invested in it, and then it comes out that the team are cannibals, and they're specific cannibals. They only eat babies, so that comes out. It definitely hurts the project, and that coin drops a lot. So you've lost a bunch of money. But when you're farming, you have three different aspects to your basket of your asset. You have that coin that you've paired with BUSD or BNB, and then you get paid in usually whatever that platform is you're staking on. Like if you stake on PancakeSwap, you get paid in Cake. If you're on like ApeSwap, you get paid in Bananas, or whatever that token is, you get paid. So you now have three different tokens in your basket that creates that part of your portfolio. So even if you find out that they are baby cannibals, even though that drops down like 50%, your BNB BUSD didn't go down anything, and then your Cake that you've been making and earning on it didn't go down anything. So your risk is more spread out, so you don't lose as much.
Interesting.
And even if you make more, if it finds out that they're, superheroes with alternate identities that actually fight cannibalistic baby eaters, that's what the team does, and it makes the price shoot up, then you're getting paid in interest on that. So you actually get more interest, so you get paid more cake, so that you still get the benefits of it going up, as well as the token going up itself. So I think it's better all around if you're farming, as far as the risk goes, and the reward.
That sounds really cool. Thank you for that.
If that makes sense, and I explained.
So what are some of the best platforms out there that you see for farming, and or that you use for farming?
Well, there's I use I think mainly ApeSwap is really good, but there's also something called, which not a lot of people are talking about, is Pococo. And they're on Binance Smart Chain and I think Ethereum. But it's an app that you can use. If you look it up on online, and all you do is connect your MetaMask to it, and it automatically organizes every coin you have in your wallet, stuff you may have forgotten about. It shows up how much you have, what the price is. And also, if you're farming on multiple platforms, it brings those all into one place to show you what you have. Any farms that are connected to that wallet, it brings it up and shows them to you, organizes everything, adds up how much all your farms have accumulated, how much you can harvest. You can click on them, and then it breaks it down and shows you the actual platform, how much you have in each coin, how much you have worth of that coin. It just organizes everything amazingly.
That sounds like a security risk, though.
No, you own your own keys. All it's doing is like connecting to your wallet and showing you all the stuff that's connected to your wallet.
So even though it can access that much or be able to sort or see that much in your wallet, it can't access or take anything out of your wallet.
Right, because you don't have that. Only you have your private key.
Okay.
So it's just, it can see it, but it can't touch it.
Okay.
But also you can farm on Pococo, and I think they've been paying for like Pococo BNB, Pococo BUSD has been like 700% for months that I've been getting on that, and that's just
700%.
Say that again?
Yeah, 700%. Every day, you just log it. Well, bring it up, and you can do it on your phone. Have your MetaMask on your phone. Go and take the money. It's very
That's
easy.
Stunning.
Yeah.
I thought, wow.
Let's see here.
And that's on Pococo?
Pococo. It's actually a South American confection made with peanuts and sugar. It's a candy. Let me bring it up here.
Wow.
And their token has done amazing. In fact, I was farming on ApeSwap, which is ApeSwap's kind of the go-to one, I think, for they pay the most interest. PancakeSwap is old, but very rarely do they pay more than 200% on most stuff. But anyway, this Pococo was paying a decent amount. So you don't have to do a ton of research. You basically need to look at the token and make sure it's not a scam and that it's going to drop in value massively. And then if they're paying like a crazy interest rate, then I go into it for a couple of weeks. But Pococo was paying a lot, so I started using it. And then I just thought, oh, this is a cool app. It organized everything. This is neat. And then I was in the community, and everyone's talking about how it's going to go to $1 and blah, blah, blah. And I was doing this. It was 3 cents. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I went back to it, and they had developed so much more. They had their own farms. They had a whole investment side of it. So it was awesome. So I started really getting into it heavy. And it went from 3 cents to like 30 cents in a matter of a couple months. So I did super well on Pococo.
Very interesting.
So I'm curious, I sent you guys this article this morning about United States joins Japan in granting Reggie Middleton the most significant asset in the blockchain industry, which is this Aboriginal DeFi patent. How do you see this affecting PancakeSwap, Uniswap? They were listed in these that are now basically infringing on his patents.
Well, if you get, I think it's the basis of decentralization. How are they going to do anything against a decentralized entity? Who are they going to tell that you're, violating that copyright? What are they going to actually do?
So it's wrong, but it's basically unenforceable.
Then what was the point of getting the patent?
Well, they could do something to a centralized agency like a bank or something like that. But
I guess maybe then that will let him get his tokens released from the government that has them seized right now. Maybe it's more about releasing his stuff than seizing other people's. Maybe. Where's that list? There's a list of all the, very list from all the companies possibly infringing on Uniswap, PancakeSwap, 1-inch liquidity, Uniswap, Index, 1-inch SushiSwap, something, HoneySwap, QuickSwap. It goes on and on and on and on. Kyber,
that's a big list.
Waves, Binance, something, more Kyber, Spirit. This is all of these that are now potentially infringing on his patent.
I can only imagine what that price of Very would be if they had to start paying royalties or something to verify.
Yeah, they probably have to pay him something, would be my guess.
Yeah.
If they're going to keep it legit. But it's the first step in really creating that framework.
Right.
That, we do need some kind of framework. I think that without it, it's terrible to have, dinosaur regulators involved in things, but I think it's important for innovation, because a lot of people have really good ideas and have people willing to give them money to make those things happen, but they're just scared to do the work because they don't want to get in trouble. And I think that they need that green light, that they're not going to get in trouble for developing something, for making something.
Well, I was listening to the hearing this morning, and there was one senator or regulator, I don't know who he was, and he was talking with one of the exchange owners, and they were like, no, we're welcoming, like, we want it to be safe for people to be on our platform, because our business is our reputation and all this. And the regulator guy was like, well, so that really encourages me that you guys are open to that. And really, we would love for you to see you kind of regulate yourself and us not get involved in that. And so I think that's really hopeful, and that could be a really healthy conversation. I don't, typically we don't see that kind of happen ultimately, but it's still possible.
I've noticed a shift in, the attitude of those people, the government, the regulators. It's like you're not cool if you're against, crypto, blockchain innovation. Which is there is a big shift from like a year or two ago when it was
quick,
when like you can't get away with saying, oh, that's just for drugs and selling people, and
right,
it's just for criminals. They're over that. People know better, so they're not saying that as much. They're not really positively for it, because they know that the people that give them their money, the banks and those legacy institutions, are not really happy. But I think they're all trying to kind of get their piece of the pie now. That they realize there's no way around this. We can't squash it. So we're gonna have to try to get what we can. And I think it's gonna get a little bit more frenzied as things start to blow up. and the real money starts to roll in, just like with the internet and with the whole tech industry. It's going to go from people just like, I don't understand these computers, to people wanting to get as much as they can. And
I don't want an email. I
money
want regular mail.
Yeah, there's still people out there that call them the computers. My friend does, and they even do this when they say it. The computers.
You're stomping on them with your paws.
Yeah. No, Ma. Sean, he does work with the computers. That's how he makes his money.
That's hilarious. We call it the Walmart around here.
We call it Wally.
Really?
World.
The Walmart?
The Walmart. World. Yeah.
You call Target Target?
Occasionally, but only on special occasions.
When you're trying to be fancy. You classy.
Only around the holidays, Anyway, I think it's interesting. Johnny has been talking a lot about DeFi and farming and all that, a lot with this WAN swap. He's really jumped on to WAN swap, and he wraps his Litecoin, and it seems pretty simple. And he's made some pretty significant percentages in different pools, and we have several videos if people want to go back and look at some of those. But I think we will definitely all check in.
Farming, the main place is Binance Chain, because you can't really do anything on ETH. DeFi really started on Ethereum, but it's not a viable place to do any kind of DeFi anything, because the gas is so expensive. I was looking at my wallet, and I have like 9,000 transactions. So because you're moving stuff around, you're harvesting. There's so many transactions. And if they're 3 cents or a nickel, that's not a big deal. But Ethereum, if you go to make a trade, it's like $30.
Well, that's where projects like Matic are gonna have so much use case. But then there's also, do you know about Fibo?
Is he like a gremlin?
Fib swap. No, my Charlie found it a long time ago, but it's a cross chain. It swaps like every token. Blood actually did a video on it the other day, and I went running in the room to show Charlie. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's talking about that Fibo that you talk about," and it was a paid. He got paid to promote it or whatever, and he disclosed that. But then he was like, "I actually really like this. It's really cool." But I think that's kind of that next. The next thing is where we have that, because that's where
how show with Blood on Friday. Me and Rice.
You are. Oh, tell him I said hi. I miss him.
I will. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and tell him.
But really, everything with DeFi mainly is on Binance Smart Chain. There is, have y'all heard of Hecko Chain?
I have not.
No.
It's Huobi's chain. Okay. Huobi's not huge for us in the Western world, but they're like the biggest
in Thailand.
Well, Asia.
So just South Asia Korea. In general. Okay.
Yeah, South Korea. That's like one of the biggest exchanges around. So they have their own chain like Binance Smart Chain does, and I farm on that. In fact, there's a Maki swap, MAKI swap. They have a Litecoin Maki pair that I've been farming on. I think that's going to blow up like long term, just like Binance Smart Chain is. People are starting to build on it. NFTs are starting to come out on Binance Smart Chain because Ethereum is just so expensive to do anything on.
What do you think is going to happen with Ethereum? Is it going to just kind of be pushed aside a bit for some of these other coins, but yet be used more as a store of value?
I know people say that, but developers love Ethereum so much, and they don't give a shit about gas. They don't care about cost. They just care about making things and building stuff. So developers, engineers, the tech people love Ethereum. So they're going to keep building on it. Plus there's so much infrastructure on it already. Just, they keep saying,
but that's where Matic is.
We'll see that ETH 2.0. Everything's going to be fixed.
So Matic is not an Ethereum killer. It actually, what it does, they've changed the name to Polygon, but the ticker is still Matic. But it lowers the fees and it helps with the speed and all that for, he'll be right back. But it helps with the Oh, you're here. Okay. It helps with the fees and the speed of Ethereum. So it's there to support Ethereum. So I think there'll be things like that where Matic will just always be there because there is so much infrastructure built on, or it is the infrastructure of a lot of
piggybacking
projects
on top of it, and taking away some of the thing. But I just moved a little bit of Ethereum not that long ago. It was $15 just to send a couple bucks.
And depending on what time of day too, like it's really crazy.
Yeah, it is what it is, I guess. It's exciting though. I'm definitely going to be looking into the farming end of things.
Yeah. I do want to get into some woo with you guys.
Woo.
I pulled up a couple of movies. Where did they go? I'm on the wrong browser. Hold on a minute. Sorry, guys. So Sean was talking about going to Ghostbusters, and I didn't realize it's called Afterlife. And then the new Matrix movie is called Resurrections. And then Sean had gone to see Dune, and I was like, oh yes, it's going to have something to do with death or at resurrection, afterlife. No, it's just called, what was it called? Dune.
So I think both Biggie and Tupac, both right before they died, did Afterlife, and then afterward their next album was titled Resurrections. So just kind of funny that they both.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And also, isn't that Busta Rhymes is one of his new ones? Is Afterlife 2 or something?
No, it's called. I sent it to you, and I sent it to
The Apocalypse.
Don D and French Anon. It's called EVE or ELE.
Event level extinction, right?
Extinction level
event. That's it.
Event 2.
Okay.
Is Busta Rhymes. I always feel silly talking like that, but anyway.
Busta, not There's no R in the end. White girl from mid-country.
Sorry, I'm trying to say it right.
Busta.
Which his latest post, I haven't looked at today, but his recent tweet
was awesome. Was definitely wooey. That was out of blue.
Looking at the watch, he said it's time.
And then what the shirt said, just flat out. I mean, his shirt said it.
Oh, the
QUE across his shirt.
Yeah, it was it's that designer's name.
Yeah, whatever it was, but the part that was right in front was
Hold on. Yeah.
QUE.
Let me find it.
Really
Hold on.
cool. Yeah, that was a good one.
Let me find it.
Did Sean go away?
No, he's there. He's
lurking in the background.
Yeah, he just had to go run off stage real quick. He'll be right back.
He's like, I told you guys, be quiet. I feed you. I don't have to feed you.
Hold on.
You got a roof over your head? Good. Get out. See, that's what you got to do to kids these days. I was scared. When I was a kid, I was scared if I screwed up bad enough, I was going to get kicked out of my house at like 10. Like I had fear in my life. These days, no kids
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, screw
I don't have orphanages
They aren't
anymore.
afraid of you.
I used to tell my kids, I'm like, you better watch.
I didn't see this new one from today. You're right.
I brought you into this world, and I could take you out. And my father
make another one that looks just like
garlic breath in my face sometimes when I was little. Man, I was a little shit when I was little. I'm gonna admit it.
Who, you?
Yeah, I was a shit. that's the wording.
Cute. I didn't realize. Yeah, so it's McQueen, Alexander McQueen, but QE or K, like questioning, and then he's looking at the time, the clock.
I would love to see what kind of.
And this was the one where I thought this was interesting. There's also something going on with golf, and like Scott Baio's kid took this picture, and her belt or her golf club said something, and it was right before that. It was that kid's name that Rittenhouse took out, and gosh, what was his name?
Get out! Yeah, man. See,
yeah,
I miss everything on most interwebs, most of the interwebs.
Well, I try to send you as much as I can.
You do.
But yeah, this one, it's time. This was a definite looking at the clock, and then K.
Is that blue in the background or is that gray? I can't.
And then look at the V here. I thought that was interesting.
I did notice that V for Vendetta. That's what that V reminded me of. But hey, we're moving out. It's all good.
We're wooing it up. Sean's like, what are you guys talking about?
It's so weird to watch Vendetta. I watched it the other day.
I haven't seen it in such a long time. I like forget.
You gotta watch it. It's so weird to watch it now because of everything that's going on. But you know the basis for the whole thing. The basis for their whole way of life and everything was because they had and it's like this little backstory. It didn't have anything to do with the main story, but the whole reason for the totalitarian everything was all started because the government made a virus that they let loose in a school, and then that caused them to take control medically of everything, just like today, lockdowns and everything. And it's just a little side story,
just like another movie that we watched. You guys can watch this on Netflix.
That's crazy.
Wait a minute.
Also, it happened in the future in 2020
come on.
You gotta watch the
future movies
on V for Vendetta.
The movie. Go watch Vendetta again, and you'll.
Okay.
It is creepy.
That's not the only one. So I shared this one with my Patreon the other day because we're watching it. It's on Netflix right now. Johnny Mnemonic. It was done in 1995.
By the way, I've been watching everything on BitChute, and I swear to you, the 4K is better quality than anything I'm seeing on Netflix lately. BitChute has all the movies from back in the day, unedited. They still got the swear words in them, you know, where they're normal movies. Again, they're not all like
go
Dolph
BitChute.
Lundgren was in Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes, he was like the bad warlock guy.
He was
like
okay.
the tall.
So
I remember Henry Rollins.
Yeah, this has the Oculus goggles in it. Like this is it's set in 2021. There's a virus. There's government overreach, like the whole thing.
Pharma control over everything.
My poor husband, he's like, do you have to narrate the whole, like, I feel so bad for him because I'm just pissed off through the whole thing. And I'm just sending public messages through the whole thing. I'm just texting him and taking screenshots.
It was supposedly placed or set in the free city of Newark, New Jersey. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because you watch The Matrix, watch Fight Club, watch, you know, these I have such a whole, it's like watching a whole new movie. Yeah. You know, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Looking back and going, well, how did I miss that? How did I not know what that meant when they did it the first time?
But what does, who say future proofs past? So I kind of think all these movies are the future proofs past kind of thing.
I watched Porky's like a month or two ago, and it was a completely different movie. It was all about like racism in those times.
Okay, now you're stretching it, I think.
No, man, I was like, oh, I wanted to watch, see boobs and funny hijinks, and it was, those movies are so deep. It's really weird.
I never realized.
Yeah. This is so then that kind of led me to, these are the old ones, future proofs past. And then you guys were talking about, Sean, you mentioned specifically, because I was like, oh, the Matrix Resurrection comes out 12/22/21, and that's like that, numerology number I'm super excited about. And then so that this one's coming out. I cannot wait.
I can't wait for that one either. I still say these are factual documentaries where the names have been changed to protect the innocent and basically everything else is real. Going all the way back to Star Trek from the original ones in the 60s. I really think a lot of these were just information dissemination programs. Star Wars.
If you look like Indiana Jones, Next Generation, there's so many things in the Next Generation that are like we have that are.
Well, there's the 17th letter in that, and it's a major part of the thing. Major part of a lot of the plots.
Yeah, well, it's the beginning and the end of the whole show. It's never ending. You know, that was how they ended it. The trial never ends. But like, you know, everything from iPads to the whole internet thing. I mean, all these things were just a weird sci-fi thought, and they're all have come to fruition. It's crazy.
I'm beginning to think things like 1984 and Brave New World and you know, a lot of these ones from back what's the other one? 20,000 Leagues, you know, all those ones. I think these were, I don't know, but somehow I think people got information from somehow. And I'm like Spielberg and like these guys today. Yeah. Hey, I don't know where they got, I don't know, I'm not judging, but they kind of got screwed up after the first one.
But if you look at like things in history, like, you know, the Third Reich or whatever, when you look back on it, everything's so obvious, and you can commentate on history. But I can see things now. You can see things now. Whereas we're watching history unfold and history repeat itself, we're like, oh my God, this is so obvious. But other people, it's not obvious to them. And I know that when this passes and people look back on it, it's going to be super obvious. So like, oh,
they're going to think, how could they not see it? Yeah,
it's in plain sight. And so, but I can see things so obvious. You know, it's just
more and more, right? Yeah. And then you get a couple confirmations on something, or for me lately, and it's been, or actually the main theme for me is I remember something back from a while ago, and I'm always like you're saying, I'm like, that's what that meant, you know, one of those things, or, you know, and it's like mind boggling, kind of like Uncle Cliff says, you know, when he goes into hyperspace and then you remember that shit, you know, years later, to use his own terms, you know, and it has an impact on you in a different way. You know,
well, if you go back and 1984 is very specific because it's so prolific. But if you watch interviews he gave, and he was dying, like most of those interviews, he's in bed because he was he was on his deathbed. He couldn't even get out of bed. He had like severe tuberculosis or something, with his lungs, that he was dying. And he was like, everyone's like, oh, it's such an interesting, nice story. And there's like this urgency. It's not a story. This is a serious thing. This is where humanity's going. I could see this happening.
Wow.
We touched on it, with the little mustache guy. This history repeats itself. I think he understood. He got it. The history repeats itself.
The deathbed confessions with some of these people seems to be the best. Like Roddy Piper said basically the same exact thing about that movie They Live, and then he passed away a couple of weeks later, right?
Yeah, that's another one. You watch They Live with the whole consumerism. I mean, when it came out, I was a kid living in the consumerism, and it was like it's a funny commentary. It's like, it's Seinfeld, talking about airline peanuts. Well, but when you look back on it, it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
And it really is it's scary to think, and it's nuts. It's nuts to think about it. Let's say it's all true. Let's say there's aliens here. Let's say that the lizard people are real. Let's say that they are hidden from our sight. All that. Mm-hmm. If it were to all come out and there's a crazy war and humanity's, successful, it's like 50 years from now. When we look back, it's another thing. It's like, it's so obvious. Look at the hints that these people did in these films, and in their interviews, they're saying things that are so obvious. Why didn't people get that? Why didn't people understand?
That's the curtain pulled over. It's
but
crazy.
That's also what's that quote? Give them games and cake or whatever.
Yeah, bread and circus.
Yeah, bread and circus. Yeah.
Except nowadays we pay for the bread and the circus.
Yeah.
Whereas before they gave it to us.
Yeah.
Well, you're always paying for it. I mean, whether you're being taxed for it or whether it's covert taxes or you're actually paying taxes, you're always paying for it. So
you're losing through inflation either way.
That's kind of another thing that we're talking about, how you get this realization. That's something I love. My uncle Ted. named one of my kids after him. I for most of my life, I was raised by my mom, single parent, and so my Uncle Ted was like my father figure. And
Is this the big Texas cowboy guy?
so far from that, you could not believe.
Okay.
We didn't
Which
come to
one
Texas
is
at
the
all.
one that's the big Texas cowboy one? Or is that a grandfather?
Once again, as far from that as you could. We didn't come to Texas till I was like 13.
I'm trying to think of who
And
you're
we did not know.
calling.
We honestly, me and my mother thought that this was like a
From
tumbleweed.
Jersey, right? You said
Yeah.
you were from Jersey at some point?
Yeah, so I was born in Jersey, raised in
Where?
Jersey, and then we lived in Europe.
Oh, sweet.
My mom, she was worked for the government in Europe, and then
that's
she met
cool.
my stepdad, who was in the military, and then we came to Texas, and that's where we stayed from there. But my uncle told me one time. I remember I was staying with my aunt and uncle for one summer when my mom and met my stepdad, and they were doing all that. I wasn't there. But there was a bowling alley that had an opening in Germany, and there was free hot dogs and sodas and everything. And I was just telling my uncle about it. He goes, and I said it was all free, and he said, "Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch."
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "No, Uncle Ted, it was all free. We had lunch. It literally was a free lunch." And he's like, "No, Sean, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Someone has to pay for it." And I was like, I don't know why you don't understand. You're a very intelligent man, Uncle Ted, but nobody paid for the hot dogs. They're free. And it had soda, chips. Everything was free. He's like, "No, Sean, the bowling alley had to pay for it." And I was like, I don't know why you're not getting this, Uncle Ted. It was free, man. Anyone could come in. You didn't even have to bowl. And you got it free. And he would like tell jokes. He was the vice president of an insurance company. And he would always like, "Oh, Sean here still thinks there's a free lunch." And everybody would laugh, and I didn't get it. But not till like years and years later did I finally understand that there really is nothing is free. Someone has to do something. Even if you get like vegetables and things, or you grow them, you still have to put in the work, to make it happen. So that's one of those realizations that I just.
Well, and that's where like Facebook isn't free.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
you're paying for it.
Your data is what you're giving up, and that's what you're paying. Yeah.
Which what is it? Robinhood, definitely not free. They take all of that data, all your like serious personal shit, and they sell it. That's why. But they're semi upfront about it, and then but they're you don't have to pay for trades, so.
Hey, it's free.
Yeah.
If you don't know the value of what you're losing, then yeah, it's free.
That's the thing. If people don't know the value of it, people give blood.
Even bartering, Ronnie, is still not free. You're still
Yeah.
giving something up. It's not free.
You're giving something to get something.
Mm-hmm.
But people give blood all the time, and if they don't know that they can get paid for it, they don't think it has any value. It's just blood,
Unless you got rare blood, and then they call you all the time, and they want you to fill up the banks.
Yeah, then it's just even more valuable.
It's terrible. I know.
Yeah,
terrible. Plasma. All right, I'm selling blood. That's it. I need some more Bitcoin.
So
selling blood today,
it.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say some other, not to be gross, but they say some other man fluids are going to be worth priceless at some point because the pure bloods are going to win.
Yeah,
that's then you'll have
it's already gone up a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 times your juice there down there. Your big stuff, your baby batter. That's 3 times for if you're unvaccinated.
Yeah, it's really happening. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. All right.
3 times as much, man.
All right. Just got my new career going here. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm helping humanity. Gross in front of my sister. I'm sorry.
Well, that is something. I mean, it's weird to think about.
It is what it is. People need that. That's a very, very valuable service to some people who try their whole lives and
like me and Lisa talked about yesterday. We're going through the trials. I mean, there's usually 15-year trials on this kind of stuff. So we're going through that. In 15 years from now, Literally, there could be like no one on Earth that doesn't have that in their DNA, RNA, you know?
Yeah.
So
Eventually
you need at
you're
least
gonna-
like 9 different strains of DNA to make a race, or else, you know, you have flipper kids.
Have you seen some of the videos of the babies that their mothers
Oh yeah.
had been with pricks?
Yes. It's terrible.
You see how she does that? She doesn't like to use potty humor, but then she says stuff like that. Their baby
Look
mom
at her
has
holding
been
a
with
straight face. I
pricks.
did nothing wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some nasty,
terrifying.
crazy videos.
Watch
about
Max
what's happening.
Egan on BitChute.
Yep.
It will
The pricks are terrifying.
Yes. Hmm.
There are some scary things going on with that stuff. It's
This is terrifying.
I'm trying to make jokes. I'm
They have
sorry.
like all
It's-
black eyes, and they are
Okay.
like
Oh, yeah.
super strong, and
or like some of them literally have the little flipper hands and stuff, and
it's terrifying.
so what are they? So it's my understanding that if you haven't gotten the puncture wound, then anything you can pick up generally from the shedding could be more or less handled by a healthy body, is to not come into the system and
Oh my
invade
God,
the
I
system.
hate talking like this because I get confused.
I know. And vitamin D. And we don't have to talk about it a lot because I don't want to lose my channel again.
Right.
Bryce does that. He starts talking about it, and I'm like,
And you're
it
like,
starts
code
with,
language.
because literally every other word is a code word.
I know. And then you start going, bananas and chandeliers. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. What?
It's too much, man. Like, you know, you say stick or prick or puncture wound. Okay.
But even that, they know.
In
what
20
you're
different
talking about.
things.
Yeah.
What's the shedding?
Oh, you don't know what that is.
Shedding?
Yeah.
No, shedding actually didn't change. That's the real term. That's
Yeah, that's
so
a
it's
term that
basically
even,
when I'm sorry, when people have gotten the puncture wound, your body naturally sheds skin cells.
like, you know, we're
dandruff,
always,
whatever.
you know,
We're always
getting rid of DNA.
exfoliating and stuff like that. And they're saying that the organisms are on the shedded skin and hair and everything. And if you breathe this in, which everybody does everywhere you go, we just don't realize it. So if you breathe this in, then a lot of the original thinking was that you can become internally taking the bad stuff in there, right? And from some of the latest stuff I've been looking at was that it's not generally the case for most people. It's the shedding may not prove as dangerous as it was when it was originally thought of a while back, because originally, if these cells are now in your skin and in your body, they're going to be shedded off of your body. People can breathe these cells in. They're saying a lot of them are immortal almost, and they don't die under many conditions. So then they can easily be transferred with dandruff or, you know, some hair that you get in your mouth or something like that. But they're saying because it's not injected through the immune system, basically, you're not going through the immune system, so it's just on the outside, so it's not going to be as bad. I'm hoping. I was hoping you guys would be able to confirm.
Well, that's weird.
If you had heard anything.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But if that were true, then you could just, I mean, if you like had sex with someone, you would get.
Oh yeah, that's what they're saying now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just that, but that's been going on for a long time. Like,
women are having a lot of trouble with
I
that.
have kids that are medically fragile, and like my in-laws one time got they had shingles or something, and the doctors were saying, like, make sure you don't have your kids around them because they're shedding that shingles illness or whatever. So it happens with other
We're constantly
illnesses.
shedding all the time, according to Uncle Cliff. Everything that's in our body is always coming out.
Yeah, I know. It's very gross, actually.
That's why couples start looking alike after they spend years and years together, because you're like merging your DNA.
I was looking for a mattress, and I saw it's like 1.5 pounds of skin we shed a year in our bed. Yeah, it's really nasty.
Yeah.
I realized that when I helped clean out my grandmother's house after she passed away, and the mattress was 45 pounds, and we were like 45 pounds heavier than, like, way heavier, just like 80 pounds heavier, you know. And it was like, that's what that is, huh? There's grandma in there.
That's gross.
It's true. It's true. Pillows. I since I learned that years ago, I'm like a new pillow every year guy. Like I don't mess around with that stuff.
I don't like an old pillow. Ugh.
Which when I grew up, I swear to God, I had the same pillow from when I was 5 to like 14. It was all.
If you think about the things we
nasty,
didn't know, though,
Oh, yeah.
for how long,
But could that have been keeping our immune systems healthier than they are today? They say with all the antibacterial this and hand soaps, the antibacterial hand soaps over.
Don't get me
regular
started
soap.
on the antibacterial hand sanitizer thing. That makes me completely nuts.
Yeah.
Because a virus is completely different than bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, so I've raised tons of kids, and kids will get a virus, and you take them to the doctor, and I'm like, can you give them an antibiotic? And they're like, no, because that's for bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So then don't ask me to put antibacterial wipes, hand stuff on my hands to prevent a virus.
Well, no, Lisa, that's not true.
Yes, it is true.
Antibacterial things kill viruses.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do. They kill everything.
And it would be antiviral.
No, they
No,
don't.
it kills everything. But if you put them in your body, they'll kill everything, including your body. So once they're in the body, then you can't mess with it. But if you put alcohol on,
my daughter had EBV, which is
It kills
Epstein-Barr
everything.
virus, and they would not give her antibiotics because it does not help kill the viral load, which
Right.
is what ultimately, that was what showed up, and then she died from cancer. So I call bullshit on
No,
that.
because it would also kill the person. If you put alcohol on a surface, it kills everything. If you drink some isopropyl alcohol, it will kill a virus, but it will kill the person as well. So you can kill stuff on a surface with an antibacterial or alcohol or something like that, but you can't put it in a body. That's
so what
the
you're
thing.
saying is we shouldn't be injecting bleach? I've been on this whole bleach injecting.
Exactly.
regimen
No,
since-
that's true.
since
Like you can watch
45
something with
said it a
bleach.
while ago. Every week.
If you put bleach on something, it will kill it. But if you put bleach even on parts of your body, it will mess it up and it will hurt. Yeah. So it's that antibacterial, wipes and the hand sanitizer kills everything.
You think antibacterial hand sanitizer kills viruses?
It kills everything. It'll kill anything.
Some of them say antiviral. I will
That's
say
why you
that.
can't put it
Hold
in
on,
your
I got a
body.
bottle of it right here. Let me get one.
Because it'll kill it on a surface, but you can't. Once it's inside of your body, you can't put
I
anything
think
in your
that
body.
bleach does that. I don't know that antibacterial hand sanitizer does that.
You ever watch Osmosis Jones?
No.
Huh?
No.
You really got to watch
I don't know
more
who that
movies.
is it a science show? You may be right. I don't know.
Yeah, it just
To
kills
me,
everything.
the whole bacterial and viral are two separate things.
Maybe within the body, but maybe outside the body, they're
I don't know.
treated separately. I don't know that. This
Let's
just
have a
says
conversation.
kills 99% of germs. Now, do they mean just
What's a germ?
bacterial germs?
Define
Yeah,
a germ.
And it also says antibacterial under that.
Computer.
Yeah, I
define
think
germ.
According to First Data Bank, Germ X is a brand name drug whose generic name is ethyl alcohol.
She is
Germ
not
X
real
is
smart. I
classified
have
as
to
a
tell
topical
you.
and external use
She's
antibacterial
cute, but she's
medications.
not real smart.
It would have been so cool if it said, "Greetings, Dr. Falcon. How about a nice game of chess?"
Yesterday, it was telling me what a human was.
Yesterday, she jumped into our conversation without
It started telling me what a human was.
an invite. Yeah.
The computer's telling me what a human was. That's so
Mhm.
stupid.
That's kind of the
You would have
oxymoron
loved
of the
it
year.
public. Yeah.
Can you say that again?
It's
No.
still arguing with you?
Yeah, it asked me to say it again.
Say it again, Daddy. Say it
I
again.
have to change the call. Man,
You guys.
I have to change the call word because if I watch Star Trek, every time it says computer, blah, blah, blah. And then I just hear, I can't do that. I can't do that.
You have them
She's
arguing
like,
with each
stop
other.
Although-
picking on me.
Computer,
Beauty.
tea, Earl Grey, hot.
The replicators on this vessel are not yet operational.
Oh, see, I need that stuff. I want one. If I had one, I would have it say it in the kit voice. Because I don't know, I just like that kit voice. That's
You know,
just
it's weird. It did have an option to have Alex Baldwin wake you up. Have your alarm set to Alex Baldwin, which I thought was weird.
That's not good. It's like, wake up, or I'll drop the hammer on your face
Yeah.
and call it an accident.
Did you
Not
see
gonna
that
make
John
fun of that.
Schneider? Was it you? So you were the one that sent me
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Or maybe Lisa did, but I always watch the
Yeah, I think
John
Lisa sent it to me
Schneider's.
where John
He's
Schneider
good stuff.
showed that he's lying.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is really cool. We're talking about people waking up, that people who basically know nothing about a subject are becoming much more of a kind of a jack of all trades, where they know a little bit about certain subjects, so
Right.
people can't get away with stuff
Mm.
like they used to. You know, they used to just say, "Oh, blah blah blah, internet," and then people, okay. You know, now like he can't say, "Oh, you know, I never pulled the trigger. The you know, this was just cocked back," and there's people immediately are going to be able to get the information out there that that's not true, and you know they're going to get called on it.
There's calls for him, open calls now. I think it was John Schneider that is doing an open call for jail time, prison.
I didn't know he did that. I did as soon as I read that, because when it first happened, I'm like, hey, he killed someone. Whatever the reasoning, if an American kills an American, there's usually something. If it wasn't self-defense, there has to be some kind of accountability. And then the argument was been made, well, is it the production company? Is it, you know,
He owns the production company.
That's the thing.
That's what you get when you get a libtard in charge of firearms.
Every single, anyone that has any responsibility, he's the guy.
Right.
He owns the production company. He was the head of on the film set, on the actual, you know, set. He was in charge of everything there. He was the actor. He was the head producer. Everything. He was the head guy on. So there's no way to wiggle out of it. He has to be held accountable. And there's negligent, there's homicide negligent, homicide or manslaughter.
Have I talked about the Kitson thing on the TV, on the show yet? Like, time goes so fast in between shows. I haven't talked about the Kitson thing. So I think this, you guys know, I think this all happened a long time ago. I think Baldwin's been gone a long time. I think this was all set up. The whole Rust thing was, first of all, it's the most terrible name of a movie and for anyone to ever come up with. The girl that he's accused of killing was about to come out with a movie about child sex trafficking, which he was to be implicated in, is my understanding. Then there was this tweet. Hopefully I can still find it.
There's been many, far too many big, high-profile name people who have been killed on set by shooting accidents. I mean, if everybody agrees that this is like basically impossible to do, if any rules are followed, it's happened with Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee, what's his name, the Joker guy. I mean, how many people have been?
It didn't happen with Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee. That's the thing. Bruce Lee, in his movie, there was a scene where he was killed that way in the movie. That was the whole plot. And then his son was killed.
That's how he was killed
that way, which was that's why that, you know, there's conspiracies that he was killed because he divulged certain secrets about martial arts, and that his son was held accountable, and that's why he was killed that way. So it's obvious. But that's neither here nor there. But like you said, there's no way that could happen. Right. I mean, if you're on a movie set, no one's going to put a live round into. I mean, if you're not at home, it's not for self-defense. You're not hunting. You know this is a live round. People would be like, "Why is this even here?"
Right.
You know, why is this on the set? This is dangerous to just have your period.
So then you have to ask, how did it get there? Yeah. Was it a mistake? Was it intentionally done by one idiot who wants to did something sneaky and make his name famous?
And even that, there's redundancy. There's redundancy where there, even if there's one idiot, there should be at least another 2 or 3 people that check it out.
So it's a concerted effort. Then it's almost as if there's a group of people who are trying to make a point.
It would have to be like a last minute thing. Like after all the redundancy and all the people have checked it, it's went through everything to the last second, it gets slipped in. That's the only explanation for it. Or so many people have to have not done their job, you know?
Right. Crazy.
So I went to Kitson, and now they've changed their cover photo. It was just like Kennedy blue. And the picture's not on there anymore. But I'm gonna see if I can still find it. But they had supposedly Fox News or somebody was like, oh look, even Hollywood is sick of all this. And they had like every window covered in like Hunter in his underwear smoking Parmesan cheese or whatever, and Acacia with her tacky dress that says "Eat the Rich" or whatever, and all this, and it was in Kitson's store windows, and I'm like, so I go to Kitson's site, and they haven't posted since 2016, and their store was closed. Well, remember when Trump went into office and he passed that executive order that said if you're involved in crimes against humanity and all that, your assets would be seized and taken into the treasury. I think that some of these big businesses, including maybe our mainstream media, have been seized and are being used in this movie.
Certainly likely, in my opinion.
When you say that we're living in a movie, what do you mean exactly? Can you explain that to me?
Oh, honey.
Everything appears to be scripted. Everything appears to be playing out a pre-made plan, in my opinion.
Oh, wrong one. Yeah. Like, here's an example.
That's the latest Pimpy video, by the way, where he's talking about the meetup. Are you coming to the meetup, Sean? I know Rice was bugging
Please
you.
won't let me.
I'll bug you.
That is not true.
She said she's never husband beat me up if I show up.
He's not going.
My
Don't worry.
husband's not
We
even
can talk
coming.
all the shit we want.
You don't know what she
Now
does.
you know
let
it's
him
not
hear
true.
Pretty scary.
He's not coming. This is part of the movie. This is the movie. So there's a saying that if it's easier to tell somebody, to trick somebody, than to prove to them that they have been tricked. And if you tried to tell people what was going on with Benghazi, they did try to tell people, and nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to believe it, whatever. And so I think they never expected Hillary to lose. Mm-hmm. I think that was when the tides turned. I think when they did drag Hillary into that van, that was the end. I think that's when we saw that big wave of executives retire and die magically of cancer and all that kind of stuff. I think that's when the first big roundup was. Then we saw lots of things happening strangely. Then I think this is the movie while other things are happening and being tightened up.
So a total false narrative, I guess, would be a concise way to.
Public, I wonder if I can.
Right.
Oh, I hate that you have an Android phone, because I could be able to pull up those videos I sent you of the guys with those. Oh, I know what else I could send you. The movie.
Which one was that?
You know, it was the one with the Robin Williams video.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Plastic face and the.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I don't understand anymore, something I don't get and I miss, is that when there was something that was weird or an irregularity, it was news, and then it didn't go away till it was explained. Mm-hmm. And now I don't know whether they just because of people's short attention span, it's like they just move on. Like
that's
I was on the World Blockchain Roundtable, and all those people on there are like super geniuses. I'm like the dumbest guy there. And a lot of people are very smart and they know a lot. Like Joe Rotes, he was involved in like the beginning start of Bitcoin. He was, talked to Satoshi and all that, but he wasn't allowed to be very vocal because he was connected to the government, like deeply connected to the government with government contracts and so on. But anyway, so he knows a lot of stuff that would blow your mind. So they know how things are. And I brought up the Kyle Rittenhouse, how that guy's foot disappeared.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know, Jason, what I'm talking about?
No, I do not.
I didn't send you that video.
So
It's
yeah,
possible.
so that's
you
the
send
thing.
a
So
lot
they're-
of stuff sometimes, woman.
Yeah, no, this they didn't know about it either. And to me, it was huge. It was like everyone talked about it. So it's just a camera in the courtroom, not like a special camera.
Oh,
Just
yeah. I'm sorry. I know
this
what you
guy
mean. Yep.
walks in and his foot disappears into the. To me, immediately that's basic green screen kind of stuff. That's
Right.
but it was live. It wasn't done or doctored. It was live.
It
So
was
there has to
live.
be some kind of green screen or something. Something's going on. And
Similar happened with Biden when he was outside getting off of the helicopter that time, and he goes up and his hand goes like right through the person or something.
yeah. So, but that would be, hey, here's a story. Who want what explanation? And there was never an explanation. It never got explained. So, to me, that's like a real thing. Everyone's like, oh, it's a glitch in the matrix. Ha ha ha. It's a serious thing, man. Something was going on, and it should be explained. And it's just those things aren't explained anymore. It's like move on, which is very frustrating for me. I'd
Maybe
like
again,
to know
it's
what
for
the hell
those
it
with
was.
the eyes to see, and
Mom
they're just
says
leaving
that
it at
Uncle
that.
Cliff says that those are software glitches and not green screen. And you know that I adore Uncle Cliff, but I do not agree with that. I think that is, I don't agree with that.
What software? I mean, why is something running? It's just a live feed. That's the thing. It wasn't like edited. It wasn't going through.
It's not playing back. It was live.
It was a live courtroom, like a closed circuit. Just a cheap camera. And it's weird. I mean, the guy's foot goes right through the floor and just disappears. And
Right.
then
It's not that.
Yeah,
it's not that the foot is missing. It's that it's like misplaced.
It goes right through the floor.
Through the floor.
It shows the floor was fake,
Mm-hmm.
and that it went through. So, but stuff like that should be explained. And we were talking about something that maybe brought that up, or stuff's hiding in plain sight. And where
maybe that's a great example, Sean, of the of what the movie is. It's the movie is what's been hiding in front of us in plain sight all along, showing this entire false narrative that we've been living under, with all of the evidence at our feet and at our fingertips the whole time, and we've just never noticed what it was because we were so enthralled in this movie we didn't stop to think. Maybe that's
explain to me why there's cars parked out behind Joe Biden.
To me, now this is what I was talking about. This is where people used to be able to say something, and everybody accepts it and moves on because they don't understand. Mm-hmm. Now, Nana is saying, Uncle Cliff is correct. This is a feed goes through software processing people. That just seems like one of those things that people just say. 90% of people don't understand. Okay. What is the software processing for? What is it doing? To me, it was a live feed that goes digitally from a camera and then gets put out. Is it for lighting? What software is processing it? And what is that software doing? And why would that software be able to make a foot disappear? What is that software doing? Is it for aspect ratio? Is it for lighting? What is it controlling that would be able to make a multicolored foot and pants disappear or go through a floor? That seems like, as far as software development or engineering, that would be a much more complicated software program that would have to be designed to do something like that. And if a software program was running on just a regular live camera to be able to do something like that, that bears the question, why the hell would you have software running on a courtroom camera meant to capture just a live event that would be able to change things and manipulate stuff? That software that has that ability shouldn't be running on that. And if it is, why?
I think one way maybe we could test this out, or somebody could test this out, is to watch 100 hours of this courtroom's videos from prior trials or something like that, and see if there's anything odd,
But
glitches
the
or
the
whatever
question
it is,
I'm
right?
saying is, why would that be running if it does it? Like if I'm like, hey man, I want you to
Oh, here's Uncle Cliff.
I want you to talk to me. I want to film this on my phone, and I would like you to explain something. And they're like, okay, hold on. I want to film you, but I want to use this app that can change your face. You
Hold on, I'm
immediately
gonna
would
send
want to
him
know why you want to use an
invite, see
app
if
that
he'll
can
come
change
on
my
and
face.
Mm-hmm. Very
I'm gonna
interesting.
send Uncle Cliff a message and see if he'll come on and explain this to us. Maybe he has just a minute.
That's I see
Right.
what you're saying.
Going in and out of focus. This didn't go in and out of focus though. It was completely clear. It was just the foot going through the floor. It looked like some kind of software or green screen that was that was designed to do that, to manipulate what you're seeing. As far as focus and being fuzzy and seeing something that's not clear, everything was perfect. The foot went through the floor, disappeared. Why? How would that happen if it's not? If it is software, it would have to be software that's designed to do that. And if it is software that's designed to do that, why is that being used in that instance? In that for that, it's not something that should be used for that camera.
Unless it truly is some kind of
I don't know. I sent
glitch
him
they
an email.
decided,
Hopefully he'll jump in and explain it to us.
But that's the point. These things, they should be explained. Like there should be someone who said, "Oh, this is what happened." People should wonder why did that
He
happen?
said it's not light being sent through a lens. It's a chip receiving electrons. Electrons. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I don't know if he misspelled it or I'm misspeaking it.
electrons, I'm sure.
Electrons.
Actually, I don't want to put words in Uncle Cliff's mouth, but that's
So it's not like a photosensitive lens, like a regular camera.
I think anything once it went from film where you're actually developing the film, I think everything at that point is all just computer chips. That's why I heard him speaking about it one time also, but I know it's something that I've noticed too. Back in the 90s, when the digital cameras first came out, everybody was all enthralled by the orbs. There was orbs in these pictures and orbs in these pictures. And then a couple generations later of these digital cameras, all the orbs seems to have disappeared. Now, are they processing? Did they change the software in these new cameras to not see that wavelength, to not see that spectrum that could have been orbs or spirits or something like that? So they took the ability in the software end out, where we used to be able to see orbs more often. Now they rarely show up in cameras anymore. But still, if you have an old camera from the 90s,
I have this weird camera that was like $1,000. I've got this, GoPro 8. I have so many digital cameras. We have our phones. Is there anything that you've ever done with the thousands of hours of recording that you've done where you've seen anything like that? Where you've seen just your hand disappear, but everything else is fine?
Well, I'll tell you what I thought was really weird with the thing was that he's supposedly this terrifying murderer. And the picture that I saw was that the judge is sitting there like this, and Kyle's over his shoulder watching a video. Like that. And the other thing what we've talked about is that, I've been in, I don't know how many courtrooms with kids that I've, fostered and adopted and gone through a divorce and had other issues. And boy, that he got a quick trial.
I was
right
talking to someone about Smollett's been 3 years?
Yeah.
And he was in 3 months.
How in the world did Kyle get bumped up to the front of the line?
That's what they were talking about. That's the politicization of the justice system. I mean, that's obvious.
No, it's because we're in a movie.
That sounds so crazy when you say
it. It is crazy. It is crazy. It's completely crazy. 6
years ago, somebody would look at you straight in your eyes, Sean, and be like, listen, I got to tell you about this lady. Her name is HRC. She eats babies. We all know who she is. And she eats babies and they drink blood. Yeah, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. Screw you, dude. You're not woo.
Well,
and now it's
10
like
years ago, they told you that they were gonna do facials, injecting younger people's blood into their face. You would have said, oh, that's horrible. They would never do that. And now that is like they soft pitched it to people, and it's a thing.
Yeah. Like the same
vampire facials
cells as flavor additives in your Gatorades and Coca-Colas. I mean, tell me that 5 years ago. Never, ever, ever would have believed you. As soon as I found out, I don't drink that. I try not to, but unfortunately, it's in the water. That stuff's everywhere now. Dasani water has that flavor additive in it.
What?
There's a product in the food industry that's literally made from aborted fetal cells. It's a flavor enhancer.
Is that the pink slime?
I can get the name for
back
it.
in the day from
no, it's
McDonald's?
it's within the pink slime, but no, it's not the pink slime. It's an actual chemically named product that is an additive that is a common additive to food. A lot of different food products these days. It's not like I heard. It's like they literally say that that's what it is. I forget that maybe somebody in the chat. Here, Tom
talking
wrote
about that.
Symox, Symeox.
Symix.
He said it's not spelled correctly. Yeah, Symix. Maybe that's one of those. And it's literally made from harvested aborted fetal cells, and it's a flavor enhancer.
The fact that there's a term called petivore, what y'all are talking about,
or feticide,
is insane.
That was in the Maxwell House coffee recent issue.
In the past, there's things that have we've all seen in the past probably 5 years that are that 20 years ago would have been a worldwide like
scandal,
like, shocking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Planned Parenthood was making money selling
the leftovers. Yep, piece by piece.
That would be taught in school.
Yeah, we
would have learned like Fracitamide children. That would have been a part of curriculum of this horrible thing. That if it would have happened, not too long ago. I mean, how long was the Fracitamide babies? What, 40 years ago? 50 years ago? And we learned about that in school. And we've seen things that are just as bad with affecting more people. And Planned Parenthood.
We got to 1 in 64 kids, with on the spectrum these days. That's not a coincidence or by accident,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, Sean. I completely agree.
It's like you said, it's they're soft pitching things over time to where when something is huge and horrific, it's news for a month or two, but it's not a worldwide event. Like, oh my God, look at this. I don't know. It's
for those that are awake, you're remembering the last time you heard it. You're I heard that once more, and it starts to stick. It starts to sick. It's precog stuff.
The Canadian government, they murdered hundreds and hundreds and thousands of children, and it was news for like a couple weeks, and they made an apology, and it's over. That would literally be, they'd have to go and rewrite textbooks if that happened 30 years ago.
So basically, we're not getting the correct information from our quote unquote news sources, right? Are they following a script? Mockingbird Media is following a script, right? So this is maybe another way to look at what the movie could be, right?
Yeah.
I think the way in reporting it, and this is something that we don't talk about, it's not that they're not reporting, but the way that they're reporting it is it's like Lisa said, it's softening things so that bigger things aren't as big of a deal. Like that was it's terrible. The Canadian government killed all these indigenous children that were going to the government schools and blah blah blah. Over time we found all these mass graves. It's pretty bad. Yeah, that's very terrible, and that's it. Not like, oh my God, this is a crime against humanity.
Right.
We should, some people have to go to prison. We got to get these old people out of, the nursing homes and try them. It wasn't a massive thing. There wasn't apologies from other countries. It should have been a massive event. And there's been several things like that where it's like, oh, that's a news story. Like there's 15 kids that were killed in Chicago this weekend. Oh, that's terrible. But let's, probably happen again next weekend. These terrible things are not as big of a deal as they used to be, and that's, like you said, it's softening it up for when for like worse things to happen, and we just kind of accept it as life.
And Nancy brings up a great point in history, proves that they burn entire libraries over and over again. And Uncle Cliff talks about, get certain books while you can and keep them. And this is another solution that blockchain brings, because we will be able to save or store history, true history through blockchain, which I'm excited about that. And, that will be able to be really stored and valued and,
Yeah, it's something that Roger Ver said to me, and it was just like a casual comment, but it was the most profound thing, that true history did not exist until blockchain was created, because it could always be changed.
Yeah.
And that this is the first time in history that when you have true history and it's verified history, that's it. It can't be changed. And that's part of 1984, Jason, that what the first thing that they did is they got all of the books, and then they rewrote all of the books and redistributed them. So they changed it and then put it all back out there. And that was the first thing that they did. But yeah, that's still, man, when I think about him, just like, well, this is actually the beginning of true history, was when blockchain was created, because now you can't change it. Yeah, and that statement was just like, oh my God, you're right.
That's where, like, when we get to doing that with once we get our, the situation with our identification and those kind of things figured out as well, because like one of my trips with Bitcoin Ben, he was talking about telling me some history about when the post office where the census was kept burned, and it was like the 1 year where the census was kept outside the safe and it burned, and so they don't have the true count from that year. Well, if the census has been off since before the 1900s, I don't even know when, I can't remember what year it was, and there's actually possibly double the number of people that pretend to give their choice every time that's offered to us, and there's that kind of manipulation going on in it. I mean, that changes so many things in our country. I mean, it changes so many stories. And that's just one example of that. So
that point from Nancy made me think too. It doesn't even have to be libraries. We know about the Library of Alexandria and some of these other larger ones in time, but it doesn't have to be anymore. What did they burn in the last 20 years? We lost important documents, government documents in the Pentagon. We've lost them in 7 World Trade Center. We've lost gold that was supposedly underneath one of the World Trade Centers. I don't remember which one it was. And still to this day, a lot of people don't know that 3 buildings fell in the World Trade Center without being on fire. And that's
the biggest ththing, Jason, that you can, when you talk to people and you tell them that wakes people up more than anything. You can see it in their eyes. I'll ask people, anyone that's over 30 something, you were alive when it happened. 9/11 happened. You're alive. You were glued to the TV. You watched everything. And I asked people, how many buildings fell in New York? And everyone's like, 2. The World Trade Center, 2. And I'm like, no, think about it. How many? They're like, what are you talking about? There's 2. And I said, no, there's 3. And
one wasn't on fire and didn't get hit by a plane.
People are confused, and they're like, and no plane hit it.
Right.
And it happened at the same time. What are the odds of that happening? And then if you look for it online, really, there's not a lot. There's a 60-minute special they did on it. And they begin the special with, never before in the history of architecture has fire collapsed a building. And that's what they said. Like, this little fire started in a break room, and miraculously, the building completely fell into itself. That is like one of the greatest feats of engineering in the past 100 years is to be able to make a building collapse upon itself. It's very difficult to do. You can't do it by whacking it with something, or it's very, very specific. It's very scientific. It's hard to do. For thousands of years, to destroy a building, we had to hit it with something heavy.
Right. I remember when they were like,
or what about
did the first implosions of the building, like in Vegas, and it was a big deal that they could do the implosions.
It was a huge thing that you could do that. Yeah. It was this scientific miracle. To think that you could just do it simply doesn't happen. But when I tell people about the third building, and then if you show them the proof, the video, then you could see it in their eyes. You're like, I remember. And you say, why?
That's what red pill tastes like.
Yeah, that's it. You can see them taste it. And you're like, why do you think you forgot that? Yeah. And that's when they really wake up. They're like, why? How would I forget that? Why would I forget that? It's just from
Fluoride.
years,
There was
years
another one.
of kind of programming for you to forget shit.
Yep,
Fluoride.
that's the point. There was another one too that people don't think about. I know Bix Weir talks about it a lot. The DTCC, all the records of $3 trillion of records held below Water Street in the World Trades in the financial district in Wall Street. And what they did was they accidentally left this vault door open during Hurricane Sandy. It flooded. It stayed flooded for weeks. They drained it out and then determined that it wasn't ruined enough, so they lit it on fire. So there are history of this erasing of documents, erasing of fact, erasing of history that just goes
And then
back
what did they
over
try
and
to
over and
do
over
with
in many different ways.
not just only documents? Then they started attacking. Okay, now we're going to attack. They made these monuments. We're going to attack those and get rid of these monuments because we're going to erase history that way too.
Yeah, well, now they're just flat out open with it. I mean, they're rewriting the history with these new curriculums that are trying to be taught in some schools here, and they're just rewriting history and trying to change everything right in front of your eyes and telling you that no, this is not what it is. And you know, where's your Sean? Have you apologized for being white today? I'm just saying.
No, I'm not
me
going
neither.
to.
Me neither.
And that's another thing that they're trying to make.
Sorry, but I'm not.
I don't understand.
White.
I don't understand because I don't get what the plan is. They're trying to make people angry and fight each other.
Division.
And it doesn't.
Not fight
I
each
can't see
other.
it ending well for them. You know, I can't see. They keep trying to piss people off. They keep trying to piss black people off at white people, and white people at black people, and I don't get it. I don't understand why they're trying to get everyone to fight.
When we're arguing with each other, we're not arguing and realizing how bad we're getting bent over the over the wood pile.
That's the bad guys. They want white people and black people fighting. The good guys don't. They want us mad. They want all of us to see how they have been turning us against each other, and to see that we're one people together, and that they have been using us, that we are all slaves, that we're all the slaves.
Yeah, I was watching. I was listening to Theo Vaughn. He's a hilarious guy, but he was talking about the white privilege thing, and he's like, I was growing up, people were like, man, look at your people took from us. He's like, bro, we're neighbors. Like, I don't have anything. Why you think we would like take it and like just not use it? But why would I be living next to you? You know, this funny guy.
They're getting past the emotions at this point. I think. I mean, what's the biggest group of people these days who are stabbed? It's the minority groups are not getting stabbed,
right?
In as much, nearly as much as us.
Well, that's I think a big thing, because they when it comes to minorities, I mean, black people in general, not even people of color, mainly black people have been used, abused. They've been the guinea pigs. They've been experimented on throughout.
Right. There's more Planned Parenthood in
yes, that's
low income neighborhoods.
That's a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's population control of those people. That's why they're all there.
Well, they also like the darker.
But this is the first time that white people are like, no, I'm being experimented on. I'm not going to do that. And it's a definite coming together. But that's what they're talking about in New York. The majority of unstuck people are people of color.
Yep.
So,
and it's a big group. It's a big group.
Yeah. It's so all of these things.
So we're coming together.
You can't go shopping, and you can't go buy groceries, and you can't go out to concerts and all. It's almost targeted at minorities, and maybe now to me it makes sense. It's like, these old rich white people don't want a bunch of black people at their restaurants, even if they have the money to go there. This is a great way to do that. I can see that. That makes sense to me. But the pissing everyone off at them, I don't get, because they're
because the
They're
good guys
gonna
are in control and they're exposing this. They're showing people. You should get mad. You should see what's going on because there is more and more coming out. Look at what just happened with this Salvation Army. The Salvation Army internal memo got leaked, or well, no, it wasn't even an internal memo. I'm sorry. They just flat out told white people that they need to apologize for being white or whatever when they give their gift this year to Christmas. It's for Salvation Army. I bet a bunch of those bell ringers are having a hard time this year getting donations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They get
so-
walked past more and more these days.
Yeah,
All of
so
those
it's
groups.
stuff is
Red
coming
Cross
out.
is
It's
another
being exposed.
Yeah, I've never liked the term, reverse racism, because it's not. Reverse racism is just, it's not being racist. Racism, racism's, man.
Yeah,
I
doesn't
think
matter what.
Trump did one of the worst things he could have done. Was calling things fake news. I don't think fake news should have ever been invented. I think it's like date rape. It's like, softer. It's not. It's just rape. It's just fake. It's a lie. We had a word.
Mm.
It was a lie. If you make a story and it's not true, then it's just a lie.
Yeah.
And to call it fake news, it's one of those things we're talking about, like making it softer to where it's easily to be accepted. It's like, oh, that's just fake news. It's like, no, that's the lie. That person has told a lie. That story has lied. That news agency has lied. It's
That's a good point.
sounds much worse than
Okay.
fake news. I don't like those terms that soften whatever has happened. They need to be called. A spade needs to be called a spade. It is what it is. Fake news is a lie.
Yeah.
Well,
All
I
news
think
these
that brings
days.
us to that point of why people have to get angry is because they need to be called a liar.
Mhm.
And, when they're at NASCAR and she said, oh, they said, let's go, Brandon. And people are like, that is not what they're saying. But it has to be that obvious and it has to be that hard. And people, and at this point, I keep saying like, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? But apparently it's going to take
know.
a lot,
Like Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah. And everyone knows it. However,
when people put the meme out, when people say that, what they're saying is, I understand that the government is run by pedophiles and the evil people. I understand that they can do what they want. I understand that they went in and either killed the guy while he was in maximum security in the custody of the government. I understand that either that happened or he's still around and he's just not facing
or he's,
justice.
or
I
he's
get it.
being
I understand all this, and
Yeah.
I accept it by saying Epstein didn't kill himself. That's what it means. When people put that out, and if people would just say the truth, like, "Hey, this is how it is." If you say all those statements for real, if you make a meme saying those things, it's much more profound and much
Yeah,
harder.
but then you're banned on, trust me.
Yeah,
Goxstein tried to let me on Spaces the other night, and I'm so like Twitter banned or whatever. He's like private messaging me. He's like, I'm trying to pull you up, but I keep getting an error or whatever. Like,
I send stuff to
ridiculous.
Beatles and things, and he sends me screenshots where
Won't go
they've
through.
literally taken the picture out,
Yep.
where they've changed stuff in the message.
Oh yeah. That's getting better for us lately, Lisa. You and I are
It is.
able to.
We've been able to communicate a little
So
more.
starting last year, shortly, what was it? Like it started to get bad in the spring, and then in the summer it got really bad. I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, but then for
I-
a couple days, you and I and Mom could even call each other, and then it went away again. But
Right. So we get weird messages when we call each other. The subscriber you're trying to reach is not authorized to receive these products or something like this. And
I don't know
my
what those are.
mom still to this point has to take a screenshot of an interesting story she wants me to read and send me the screenshot because she can't send links. It's crazy.
You guys, I love you so much, but I am going to look at wedding dresses with my daughter.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much
Congratulations
for
again.
coming on early and adjusting everything. Sean, I'm so glad you're here today. I love
was
you
fun.
very much.
Loving Sean on the Woo Woo Wednesday. Please come back, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah, anytime. I was going to wear a tux today, but I was rushing.
time.
Have fun at Ghostbusters, right? That's where you guys
Yeah.
are going?
We're going to see Ghostbusters, and I'm not cooking for family and I. We're going to go to a Venezuelan restaurant.
Nice.
Ooh.
Give us a full report next week.
Yeah, it looks good from the menu.
Classy
But
stuff.
what do we have? We went to we had Hawaiian last night. That was really good.
A Hawaiian place?
Yeah, it's amazing here in our town. It's really, really good.
Awesome.
We
That
need to
sounds
have a
good.
meetup
I've had Hawaii.
in Sean's town. We're going to do that in 2022.
There
Yeah, we
go.
have we have like a Joe Exotic place that's like right down from my house. The tiger's gone now because that damn Carol Baskins, but they still have lots of cool animals and stuff there. Thought about having a meet up there. Be it's right outside of town.
So I watched the second one, I think the night after Roxy died. I couldn't sleep. So I was like, my little dog died last week over Thanksgiving. I think you guys know. And so I couldn't sleep. And then that part 2 of that came out.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
There was like Trump stuff in that too. And I was like, is this part of the damn movie? They're trying to reach everyone. They're trying to reach NASCAR people. They're trying to reach Tiger people. They're trying to reach, these kind of people. They're trying to reach, like, I don't know. It was very weird.
Let's go, Brandon.
Was it good?
I really don't remember too much of it. I was just mostly just numb.
I want to watch it. It looks. My son was like, "Why? What is the rest of the story?" I was like, "Oh, it's like the after stuff, like the DA, and they're all like, hey, dude died."
Well, I'll tell you what was the big thing in it that they exposed is that, and it goes with that story of like, I can't remember how much the FBI pays, like $42 million in what they pay informants every month. And something like that.
Wow.
And that guy that ended up taking over Joe's place here in Oklahoma, he's an FBI informant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those that's on the payroll.
Yeah, I knew that one guy was.
I'm like, but I'm like, okay, one of those things, we should all be like, what? They pay how much? We're printing how much money? And can the FBI slow down their roll on paying these criminals with our money?
That's something, getting back to my Uncle Ted, when people were talking about, oh, this is, the vaccine's free. And it's like, it's not free. That's when I said, there's no free lunch. And then I was like, damn it, Uncle Ted. All right. Because that's all,
with your soul.
everything that the government buys and pays for, it's our money. The stimulus checks and all that, it's our money. That they're just giving us back some of our money.
And remember what money is. Money is just a store of our labor for us to be used later, which means they're stealing our time, which means we're slaves of theirs.
Vampires, baby.
Yeah, people are wage slaves. I mean, I've quit and I've retired and I'm all crypto for like 3 years now. But when you first got into crypto and you realize like how the monetary system works. And,
yes.
When you actually quit doing your work and you just go to crypto, then you're able to take care of everything financially and then and do what you want. You really get that. It's like a second awakening when you see that just how people are just wage slaves and how they work, and they work at things they don't want to do. They're not happy. It's like, yeah, I don't like this job, but it has good benefits. I don't like this job, but it pays, better than what other stuff. So they do this thing they don't like for most of their week, and they give a good chunk of their money goes to the government, and then most of their money goes to just existing, which I said before, we're the only species on the planet that pays to live here. And then they have this little bit of time to do things that they want to do, and they're usually tired from doing all the other stuff. And they do that for decades and decades to where they could finally get to where they can actually live their life and pursue things they want to do. And it's right before they die.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing that we have turned into as a species, man. It really is.
Gotta fix it.
Agreed completely.
Hope we can change. Hope we can change.
I think we can, and I think that's
what
we're
able to
all
do that all
doing.
unless we were so distracted with this crazy life that we're all living in these days. Yeah, agreed, Sean. Definitely.
He was focused on everything else, but ourselves and our families, and just pursuing the things we want to in life. our passions, and but that's that was the core thing, our pursuit of happiness, and we've turned into a pursuit of existence. Everything, we wake up and we have to be able to take care of bills and take care of this, and it's all about existing. It's not about following a pursuit of happiness, which is what the country was founded on. There's so many things that our country was founded on that scares the shit out of the whole status quo of humanity. Where people had sovereignty over their own everything, that we would accept anyone and we're all equals, and you come to our shores and we'll accept you. And I was thinking about this the other day. It was really profound to me that America is different than every other country because we don't have refugees. We're not refugees. There's never been an exodus of American refugees. We've taken refugees, and we've done it as a melting pot. And this whole I've said always that there's no such thing as cultural appropriation in the United States. You can have cultural appropriation in other countries. I don't give a crap. But the United States is impossible because for us to exist, we're a melting pot. You bring your culture to us and it becomes part of America. We started this country not long ago, and we started it as a blank slate, or as a pot. And you bring your culture here and it becomes part of us. You're no longer a Greek or a German or an Italian. You're an American. You could say you're an American Italian. You're an American Greek. But you've brought that culture to us to enrich us, to make us better. So you can't have cultural appropriation, in my opinion, in America, because that's what we're founded on.
TikTok says otherwise.
You can come here as a refugee, but when you come here, we don't leave. We don't run, we fight, or we die. We happily die. And I was watching some videos on these tribal people who are learning about the Star Spangled Banner and what what the story behind it. And I thought about it, and a lot of them were like, why are these people willing to die just to hold the flag up? Because that's our mindset. We don't want to die, but we will die for principles happily. Mm-hmm. Happily, because they're bigger than us. They're bigger and more important to us. And that's what Americans do. We either fight to fix it, or we die. We don't run. We don't turn into refugees. And that scared the shit out of every other country, every other ruler, that will take everyone. And we embolden those people and give them something to not run from and something to fight for, because they're not a serf. They're not a peasant. Everyone's equal. You're part of this country. You don't just live here. You don't just work for a sovereign. You are a sovereign yourself, for you and your family. So it was different than any other idea. And it changed people and made them so much more emboldened and I don't know what else to say about it. But
but that's where then we got lazy and got soft and took that for granted. And that's where we have to get mad that that's been taken away from us. And until we realize that these lockdowns and this, what's been forced on us for our privacy, there was and I don't know if it was DeSantis or who it was, but they were at a press briefing or whatever, and this guy asked him, have you been pricked? And he's like, well, that's none of your business. That's my private health information. And he goes, well, it is our business. He goes, well, really? Well, do you have an STD then?
Yeah. And you remember, I would ask everyone that like a year ago.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, and I was like, hey man, you got herpes? What?
And the guy was like, yeah, he's horrified. And he's like, well, if you think it's your business, what my health information is, and I want to know what yours is.
Yeah, where did HIPAA rules go in the last 2 years? It was a big thing
before
that.
That's got to be a wake call. There's going to be lawsuits out the ass, man.
Yeah.
There already is, and they're coming online against that. They're coming online against the school boards. They're coming on strong everywhere. There's a large influx of these lawsuits coming in. Of course, we don't hear about it, but they are definitely there. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Definitely.
That's a whole woo-woo thing about the about not hearing about stuff. You know, I have a friend that lives in Oregon, and you know, there's counties that are trying to secede from Oregon, but they don't want to like be their own country. They want to secede to Idaho. And it's a huge, huge thing, but you don't hear about. No one's heard about it on the news. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, "What are you talking about, dude? It's on every night. It's this big, huge thing." I was like, "It's on your local news, isn't it?"
I've never heard.
I said, "No one else in the country knows it's even happening."
Not hearing
Like,
about
are
it.
you serious?
I consider myself pretty well read, and I haven't seen or read anything about that.
Yeah, he said, "Yeah, man, just went through the court here, to see if it's legal." He goes, "It's like the biggest thing in the world." I said, "No, dude, no one knows." I said, "Nobody knows about it at all." I said, "No, it's not reported on. It's only there in your local news."
Well,
Because
that's the other thing. So I've started following 4029, which is like a local news station from my parents' area, from where I went to high school and all that. And they have some really odd news stories that I'm like, why is no one talking about this? Well, and so I think if you guys are looking for some things, news stations, go find some local news stations, because we know that the big ones are not telling us the real story. But I think maybe some of those little local news stations might be. So maybe that's some of those things. They can get some information that way too. I really have to go though. I love you guys very much.
We are
But
the
I'm
news.
really late.
We are the news now. We are the news.
Yeah.
And you guys are all the news. So go spread this around, share this video, and get more news out there. Love you guys. Bye.
Ciao.
Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from Calyx Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from Calyx Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calyxsolutions.io.